Hey guys, Tech Made Easy, and thank you so much for clicking on our video today. Well, get ready, the head-to-head video with the EcoFlow Delta and the Nexus power station. Guys, in this video, I am going to be going over power station capabilities and limitations. I'm going to be going over detailed specs. We're going to take a close look at these power stations. I'm going to take a good look at these LCDs to see what they provide and what they don't provide, which is important. I'm going to be taking a look at the apps as well to see what value they add, firmware updates, and more. I'm going to be looking at the way we can charge these power stations, whether it's AC, DC, or solar power. I'm going to be doing a bunch of tests with many different appliances, okay? So you could see these power stations in action. Well, let's get started. Let's take some time talking about cost. So the Eco Delta, again, this is the previous model, but it's still current, sells for $11.99 now. It was originally $13.99. So there you go. Now, when you look at the Ego, the base station here itself is $549. No batteries. But if you want to get four 7.5 amp hour batteries and the station, your best bet is buying the kit. The kit will cost you $1,000 with two 7.5 amp hour batteries, and then you would buy two more batteries. So for $16.99, you would get four 7.5 amp hour batteries and the power station before tax. The other configuration that you might want to think about is getting the 10 amp hour battery. The best way to do that is you buy the power station for $549 and you buy four 10 amp hour batteries. Now these 10 amp hour batteries are about $450. 7.5 is $350. So if you take the power station and four 10 amp hour batteries, you are looking at $23.49 before tax. And again, the 10 amp hour battery will give you more runtime, right? More watt hours. Let's take some time and go over some of the ports that these devices have. All right, let's start off with the EcoFlow. And the EcoFlow has ports in the front and in the back, okay? So let's start off with USB Type-C. EcoFlow actually has two USB Type-Cs right here, and these are 60 watts each. So that's really good because a lot of devices now are using this. Android phones, iPads, MacBooks, and more. Okay, so two on the EcoFlow. Now, USB Type-A, the EcoFlow has four. 1, 2, 3, 4. It has two fast charge, which is up to 18 watts, and then it has two regular Type-A, which is up to 12 watts. Now on the Ego, no Type-Cs, but you do get four Type-A's, which is about 12 watts each, and they do have a cover and a dedicated button to turn them on here or in the app. As far as AC ports, the Ego has three of them. All right, and as you know, these are the 2,000 watt power station, 3,000 watts peak, but you got three AC ports with a cover, a dedicated power button, and again, you can turn them on the app. With the EcoFlow, they are in the back, so you just turn it around, and you will see here that you now have six. All right, again, this can handle up to 1,800 watts with 3,300 peak. Now, while we're back here, the EcoFlow is the only power station that actually has a DC port. All right, this is regulated as well. If you're going to use a CPAP device, but you're better off plugging it in, to my knowledge, it does have a cover as well. So you can just cover that up and protect it, which is nice. As far as solar, the EcoFlow does have an XT60. Okay, so you open this up and you can plug in your solar power cables, the MC4 cables, but they're XT60 on the other end is MC4. This is where you would charge it AC and your reset button. As far as the Ego Nexus, I will come back and show you what the separate charger looks like when you're going to use solar. All right, it is a separate charger you would buy. The model number is CH1800, and that sells for around $159, depending on where you buy it from. Let me show you that. All right, so I decided to pull out all of the cables so you can see what comes with these units, because I think that's also a reason to make a purchasing decision. Now, the EcoFlow has the power supply built in, and the advantage there is when you're going to plug it in AC, all you need is this cable. With the Ego, they do have an external power supply, so it's pretty big, okay, and there is a holder, I'll show you in a minute, on where you can put this. Now, as far as solar is concerned, the EcoFlow does come with, as I said before, the XT60 to the MC4 solar cables. So this just plugs in to the side panel over here that I showed you earlier, and then you plug these into your solar panels. Okay, again, the MPPT solar charger is built in. Okay, so again, it's built in, which is really nice. They also give you a way to charge the EcoFlow via your vehicle. You can, again, XT60 DC right into your car charger. So you can charge this a couple of ways, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Now, with the Ego, when it comes to solar, they recently launched, just last year, a solar charger. This is the CH1800. As you can see, it would replace the regular charger, because this is an AC charger. And it does come with the cables when you buy the CH1800. So this just plugs in to the back of this unit. These MC4 cables plug into a standard solar panel. All right. And that is a separate charge. It's $159, sometimes higher because they're a little hard to get right now. But the charger does have a spot where you can actually put it inside. So if you're not using the charger, you can open this up and unplug the cable. You know, just wiggle that out. And actually, that doesn't go there. I apologize. The cables go here, right? So you'd put the cables in. You would close this up. All right, without me fumbling. Power adapter sits on top, and it actually gets strapped. So, you know, they did think of how do we make this easy since it has an external power display, and that would be one way, right? That you can just strap this on top, grab it with the real strong handles, and be on your way. And that's some good information on the included cables. As far as which of these power stations have an app that supports them, the EcoFlow does not have an app, okay, but I believe the newer Delta should have an app that'll give it capabilities of firmware updates and actually controlling it, but the original Delta does not. Now, the Ego does have an app, and they have it for all their tools, and it's a great way to register the tool. So you just click on the Ego Power Plus app, and I can turn this on with the press of a button. It'll turn the unit on, and what I want to do is I want to scroll down to my Power Plus Nexus, click on that. Now it's not connected yet, but you can connect it Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. I'm going to click on Bluetooth, and it's going to connect to it because I connected it for the first time a while ago. All right, and it does provide some pretty decent information. Now I will tell you, the EcoFlow Delta has on its screen your input and your output wattage. All right, and so as you know, this has pass-through charging. That means I can charge this while using it. Now, the Ego does not have that capability, and hopefully they'll come up with that one day. But as I use the app, some of the advantages here are I can't see how much wattage I'm using on the Nexus, but if I use the app, I can. It'll actually show me how much wattage I'm using, okay, right here on the screen. Sorry about that. I can do firmware updates, which is important. It tells me how much power the power station currently has based off the 2 batteries. All right, if I turn on the outlets, I can do that in here by clicking on one of the outlets. I can turn on individual outlets, or I can turn them all on, and I can turn on USB. And one thing you'll see is the countdown changes. So it just tells you have 39 hours based on no load. There's nothing plugged in. If I go back to the app, again, firmware, which is really nice, it'll tell me, my time remaining. Again, no load. Once you plug in something, that will change, which is helpful. It'll show you the situation on all 4 batteries. As you can see, the first one's a 10 amp hour. The second one is a 7.5. 10 amp hours got 94% charge. The battery number 2, 7.5 amp hours, got 86%. All right, again, I can control it, which is nice. Turn them on, turn them off. I can see my wattage here, which is nice. Now, I did do a video on a device that you can get if you're charging solar and you want to know how much wattage you're putting into the power station. I will put a link at the end of the video and in the description on that video. It's a very helpful device. And, if I use the EcoFlow Delta and I plug in solar panels, it'll tell me the input, right? Because the input is right there, all right? But the Ego doesn't have that. It'll only tell you how much output, how much wattage you're outputting, but it doesn't tell you input, and it doesn't tell you it on the main screen. Again, it's nice to have an app. You can do firmware updates. EcoFlow Delta doesn't have that, but the newer models I hear do. Continuing on with some specifications, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are built into the Ego Nexus, and that helps with firmware updates and using the app. The EcoFlow Delta, this is the original, does not have that, but I understand the new Delta Max or has the app capability for firmware updates on the newer model. Warranty. So the EcoFlow Delta has a 2-year warranty, okay? The Ego actually has a 5-year on the power station and a 3-year on your batteries. Now, if you're using 10 amp hour batteries and you register them, at this time, Ego will give you a 5-year warranty on your 10 amp hour batteries. You do have to register them, but other batteries have a 3-year warranty. But it's nice that the power station has a 5-year warranty. As far as weight is concerned, the EcoFlow Delta weighs 30.9 pounds. The Ego power station by itself is 30.2 pounds. But if you add 4 7.5 amp hour batteries, you're at about 56 pounds with all 4 batteries. Each of the batteries weighs 6.39 pounds. All right, peak wattage, 3,300 on the Delta, 3,000 on the Ego. Consistent wattage is 2,000 on the Ego, 1,800 on the EcoFlow. Pure sine wave. They're both pure sine wave power stations, which is important. Very clean power. Now, when we talk about watt hours, the EcoFlow Delta has 1,260 watt hours. All right, and that's important because you're going to use your watt hours to figure out how long this power station is going to help you with your refrigerator, with your TV, or whatever it is when you have power outages. Now, the Ego with 4 7.5 amp hour batteries would have 1,680 watt hours. And keep in mind, you can add 10 amp hour batteries, which will give you even more watt hours. Lifespan and cycles on the batteries. The Ego states that the batteries will last 800 to 1,200 cycles and then go to 60%. EcoFlow is saying 800 cycles, and then the batteries in here go to 80% capacity. Maximum charging of devices, The Ego will support up to 7 plugged-in devices. The EcoFlow will support up to 13 because of the amount of plugs that it offers. Both have an LCD display, as you can see, which is really nice. EcoFlow has an advantage showing you your input and your output wattage, which is very, very helpful. Pass-through charging is included in the EcoFlow, and that is huge. That means you can charge this device while plugging in your refrigerator. All right, like take your solar panels, put them outside during a power outage, charge this device, and plug your refrigerator in. Check that example out. Solar charging, they both offer solar charging. Solar charging is included with this device. It includes everything you need. Obviously, on this one, you'd have to buy the adapter, which is $159. And of course, solar panels are not included. Maximum solar charge input. Now that's important. If you're going to charge these via solar, maximum input on the Ego is 180 watts. Okay, so it won't matter. You can't put any more than a 200 watt solar panel on this thing, because a 200 watt solar panel probably produces about 140 watts, which is safe. Here, you can have, this actually will support up to 400 watts of solar power to charge this device. You can take, 2 to 3 panels and get this charged up a lot quicker. That's a really nice advantage. Maximum solar charge. Now, solar charge time is going to vary, guys, but I'm going to give you some estimates here. So EcoFlow is saying anywhere from 3.5 to 7 hours to charge this solar. Now, that's because of the sun, the clouds, all of that good stuff, right? Now, charging the Ego via solar with 2 7.5 amp hour batteries takes anywhere from 5 to 10 hours, okay, using obviously the solar charger adapter. Now, I personally experienced 6 hours charging those 2 batteries. I will put a link in the description if you want to see that video. Now, as far as charging in a car, Ego doesn't offer that. All right, there's no DC input. But on the EcoFlow, you can actually charge this power station via DC. They're saying it will take about 10 hours to fully charge this to 100%. As far as fast charging is concerned, the EcoFlow also offers that using an extreme technology. Now, what happens is it'll actually take the input wattage up to 1200 watts. So to charge this to 80% would take 1 hour and about 96 minutes or so to full. And again, because of that extreme technology, believe me, the charge time is a lot longer because this is a slow charge power station. When you plug this into the wall and you put 4 7.5 amp hour batteries, it is going to take a while. Hey guys, if you're really enjoying this video, take a moment, give us a thumbs up. Brooklyn and I would really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's do our test on the Ego Nexus power station. We're going to turn it on. And the next thing you need to do is turn on your outlets, okay? When you turn on your outlets, it will give you an accurate reading of how much time you have left. So let's go ahead and leave this here for a minute. Let's plug in the, by the way, this pump is around 400 watts, okay? Push this in and starts up, no issues. Time is starting to drop, all right, based on wattage. And let's see what, since you don't get it on the panel here, it doesn't show you how much wattage it's using, right? And you just get these dots here. You should be using the app to actually see that. Oh, 419 watts. All right, 2,000 watt max, 3,000 watt peak. But I am getting 2 hours and 45 minutes remaining if I need to run my pool pump using the Ego Nexus. So, there it goes. And you can see the display. Okay, we've got the EcoFlow Delta here. As you can see, it's got your input and your output, 100% charged, 99 hours. This is already plugged into the back, so all I'm going to do in this case is turn on the pump. Again, that is about a 400 watt pump. All right. Now let's take a close look and see what we're getting. 385, 86, 87 watts. It says it can run this for 3 hours. No problem whatsoever. Let's go ahead and plug a 50-inch TV, LCD TV, to the power stations and see how much power it pulls. Honestly, it won't pull much. Turn on the Nexus power station. Let me go ahead and use the Nexus app so I'll know how much wattage it's pulling. That's connected. I'm going to plug in the plug for the TV, and I'm going to hit turn on the outlets. And then this TV should turn on in a moment, and then we'll be able to see how long we'll be able to run a TV. All right, so the TV is turning on. And we are pulling, says 73 watts so far. Now it's going down, actually it's going up, 108 watts. All right. So we have 109 watts, and based off of the load we have with 4 7.5 amp hour batteries, this is adjusting 11 hours and 48 minutes. Based off the load, it's adjusting. All right. The batteries are 92% full when you combine all 4 of them. So you're getting almost 12 hours based off of a TV that's pulling 109 watts. All right. Now let's plug in the EcoFlow Delta. I'll plug it into the back. Any of the ports, doesn't really matter. I'm going to turn on the power station. And then I do need to turn on the power to the ports for the TV to go on. So let's do that. We are watching the wattage on the power station. I got 58 watts, 111, 102. TV has turned on. Wattage is very similar. All right, we had about 109 on the Nexus. We got about 102 or 101. And this battery says up to 13 hours based on that wattage. Okay, so even though, 13 hours, battery's 100% full, and that's probably why, with 101 watts on the output side. All right, in this example, I've got the TV connected, I've got my modem from the cable company, and I've got my Wi-Fi router. All right, say the power is out, but I need my backup power. So I've got all these plugged in. Let me go ahead and just put this down for a second before I turn it on, so you can see how much time and how much power is being pulled. And then we'll do the Ego afterwards. So I turn it on, and I'm going to reach you behind and turn on the inverter for the power. If I could find it. All right, let me just turn this around real quick, guys. All right, it is on. Let's watch the screen and see. So wattage is going up. 65, 119, 109, 110, 111. So as you can see, just turning on a TV, a modem, and a router doesn't use a lot of wattage. And on the EcoFlow Delta, it is telling me I should get about 12 hours. Battery's 100% charged, so that's going to contribute to how long I can run. But there goes your example. Now let's check out the Ego. Now let's test the Nexus. Now, because of the size and shape of these plugs, I had to go ahead and get a little extender so I could plug them in. Power on. Let's connect so we know what wattage is being pulled. Let's turn on the outlets. $76 watts, 122, all right, so I got 122 so far. And again, we'll look at the screen and see that we've got probably about 11 hours based on the 4 batteries and the wattage of 122 watts. All right, 122 watts and about 10 hours and 40 minutes. All right, the next test is on my new Samsung refrigerator with an ice maker. Now it's a 2021 model, all right, so it is new. So it shouldn't use too much power. Now, I'm going to go ahead and unplug it from the back corner. So give me 1 second. All right. And it's off. I'm going to plug it in to the front. All right. I'm going to get the phone ready so we can see what wattage is being used. Okay. On the Ego app. Let's turn this on. Before we turn on the outlets, let's connect via Bluetooth to the app so we can watch it all happen. All right, we are connected, and we are now going to turn on the outlets and watch the app. All right, it's coming on. 109, 15. So it took 109 as far as the starting wattage. It's now down to 3 watts. Now down to 0. And look, refrigerators do that. Once they're running, and this refrigerator's been running, it doesn't really need to use a lot of wattage. From time to time, it'll go back up to its starting wattage to keep the refrigerator contents cool, but I'm in a house with an air conditioner on. 92% level on my batteries, 0 wattage right now on the refrigerator after starting up. And because of that, I can run this refrigerator. It says 77 hours. That's like 3 days. And this is adjusting, but I don't know if it's fully adjusted. It just takes a little moment. It looks at how much battery life you have and all that good stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. This will change, and the reason why is because when the refrigerator goes up on that peak wattage of 100 and 100 and something watts, just for that little short period of time. Now let's go ahead and open up the refrigerator door. Now I don't know, this is a new refrigerator, so it probably won't do much. 8 watts with the door open. All right, let's open up the freezer. Freezer's open now. 7 watts, 8 watts. Again, it's already nice and cold, but it's a good example. All right. And the time, based off this wattage, on the power station says 68 hours, going back up to 75. So look at that. So it drops back down to 0. So it doesn't use a lot. The newer ones are definitely better than the older ones. Let's go ahead and check out the EcoFlow. All right, the EcoFlow, the refrigerator is plugged into the back. We're going to go ahead and turn on power station. And now we're going to turn that switch on real quick. And let's watch it. 156, 169. Wow. So it went all the way up to 169. Dropped to 0. But look at the power. As you could see, again, it is cold already. It doesn't have to work hard. But 99 hours based off the current wattage. Now let's go ahead and open the doors. All right, one door is open. Let me open the second door. All right, two doors are open. Give it a moment. Just see if this kicks in a little bit or whatnot. But you saw that wattage, right? The start up wattage when it started up. Wow. So it kicked on a little more than it did with the Ego. All right, I hear the fans going on. Nothing major. But guys, I mean, right now it turned off the lights after a while, you know, because, yeah, this thing is, the newer ones, they're just great. Again, don't get me wrong, it'll kick in every once in a while to make everything cold again, but yeah, pretty cool. Next test is a toaster. Let's turn it on. Okay, I'm going to turn on the outlet in the back because it's already plugged in. I shouldn't be showing anything, but the toaster lit up though. And let's turn on both. And wow, 1800. It almost went to 1800 on the spike. The fan went on. Look at that. So it says 41 minutes based off of the load. That's more than my microwave, and I am using both. Wow, that's a good test. 41 minutes, 97% battery, 1760 watts. And we turned it off. Okay, so let's turn on the Ego. Let me connect to the app so I could see the wattage. I'm connected. All right. Now, the Ego does support more wattage at 2000 consistent versus 1800 with the Delta. This also peaks at 3000. The Delta peaks at 3300. Let's go ahead and turn on the outlet. We'll keep an eye on the wattage, but nothing should happen until we drop the switches of both on the toaster. Ready? Here we go. Fan kicked in immediately, showing 1402 watts, 1690 watts. The time remaining is 1 hour and 16 minutes with 1682 watts. Batteries are 92% charged. Fan is on. Toaster is on. 47 minutes now, so the time has dropped. 1679 watts. All right. There you go. Next up is an 1100 watt microwave. Let's go ahead and turn on the outlet. Let me get the app back up. I should still be connected. All right, it's showing 3 watts, just turning on. So some back down to 0. And let's go ahead and press number 2, which defaults to high, and see what happens. Fan goes on. 1786 watts. Time is dropped to 2 hours, 1 hour. 1787 watts. 1794. 52 minutes, 48 minutes. Definitely pulling more wattage. All right. There you go. 46 minutes, 1785 watts. There you go. And that fan stays on. And that's a good thing. Now let's test the EcoFlow Delta. Turn it on. That's already plugged into the back. Let's go ahead and turn on the outlet. I guess that's the fun part. Let's watch. Any wattage for turning on? Okay, I'm getting nothing. On the Ego, we did get 3 watts temporarily. And we're going to hit 2, like we did before. And we're at 400, 500, 1600, 1597. Fans kicked on. 45 minutes remaining, 1600 watts. Okay. So it shows less wattage. Don't know why. Obviously they're not using the same equipment in each of these power stations. But 1600 watts with 44 minutes. And this jumps down and adjusts pretty quickly compared to the Ego. But 1500 and change. Alright, not bad. And you can hear the fan. Next test, a Wagner heating gun. We've got 650 on low and 1200 on high. We're going to start off with the Delta. Let's go ahead and put this on low, not aim it towards the plastic, and see what we get. All right, big time, huh? 480 watts. Fan turned on the Delta. All right, 477. We got about 2 hours if we had to use this heating gun. So 2 hours, 476. Let's go ahead and kick it on high. There you go, 1159 with 55 minutes left. 1150. Working fine. No issues. All right, there you go. Good test. All right, let's start our test with the Ego. All right, we'll pull this up so we can see what kind of wattage it's using. Let's go ahead and throw it on low. Fans go on the Ego. 555 watts initially. 3 hours and 15 minutes based off what the batteries tell us. 602 watts. 599. 2 hours and 37 minutes as it adjusts. 550 watts. Let's kick it on high. 600. 1099. 1 hour and 21 minutes. 1096 watts. 1 hour, 10 minutes remaining on the batteries. Not bad. Let's go ahead and try a toaster oven. Now it's already plugged in. The AC port is turned on. We don't have to fumble around with that. It's about 1100 watts. Let's see what happens. 1200. Fan is on the EcoFlow. 1196 with 58 minutes remaining. 1187. Okay, not an issue, no problem here. Running it fine. Let's try the Ego. All right, it's time to do the Ego. Again, everything's on, it's all plugged in. Let's go ahead and kick this on and see what wattage we're doing here. Oh, 1066. 1132. 1129 with 1 hour and 24 minutes remaining on those batteries. 1 hour and 9 minutes. 1125 watts. Not a problem here. Definitely able to handle the load. Really nice. All right, everyone needs a cup of coffee, even when you lose power. And so what better than to get a TechMade Easy cup and run yourself a cup of coffee. So let's turn this on. Well, actually, let's turn the outlets on. Turn on the coffee maker. Open, close. We're just going to run water through the unit. We're going to do 8 ounces. And we're going to see what kind of wattage this thing pulls. All right, I'll just leave this here. All right, here we go. We have 3 watts right now with the machine turned on. And watch the wattage. $1,361 watts initially. Coffee makers definitely use a lot of wattage to make coffee. 1,281 watts, 1 hour and 6 minutes. 1,271 with 1 hour and 2 minutes left. So look at the wattage a coffee maker can use. All right. Fan is on, obviously, on the Ego. And we're making a cup. And there you go, 1,278 watts. All right, let's see how the EcoFlow Delta does. Let's turn the machine on and see the wattage it's using just to turn on. Okay, nothing so far. Let me open and close. It's flashing, but this is showing no wattage. The Ego showed about 3 watts initially. We'll go ahead and hit 8 ounces again. And let's see. $1,435. And you know, it's weird when it does that, but it's still working. See the numbers going crazy. 1,400, 1,000. Can definitely handle the wattage. Obviously, the EcoFlow goes to 1,800 watts, 3,300 peak. But don't know why it's doing that. But it is working. That's the key thing here. As high as almost 1,450 watts. We're going to do a ceramic heater now. On low, it's 900, and on high, it's 1,500. There are 2 settings, and we're going to have the heat all the way up. I'm going to get hot for you guys, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to help. So, it's off for now. Everything's connected. The display turns off, which is fine. And let's go ahead and go to setting number 1, 900 watts. All right, there you go. It's interesting, it's actually showing a lot more wattage for the middle setting. 1,074, 1,000. Okay, fan went on for a second. It's low right now on the EcoFlow. The heat is working. It's definitely working. I'm going to go ahead and kick this into high now. That's 1,500 watts. Let's see what this does. That's going to be higher than the test before. Let's see. Ready? All right, 1,500 and change, 1,600, 1,634. You know, it's interesting. This is more stable with more wattage. The other test we had before was making the display kind of get funny. So 1,350 watts, 48 minutes remaining. All right, it's Ego's turn. Let's go ahead. Again, we are on high. We're going to try the first setting at 900, and then we're going to try the second at 1,500. Let's see what happens. Let's keep an eye. $1,200 watts. 913. An hour and 24 minutes remaining based off of the current wattage. So we're close to 900, so that makes sense. All right. 928, an hour and 20 minutes remaining. Let's go ahead and kick this on high. 1445 watts. Drop down to an hour and 8 minutes. 1628. 1556. 51 minutes remaining. As you can see, it's handling it. Very nice. All right, so here's a really good example if you work out in the field where you normally don't have access to power, or you live off the grid, right? So one of the advantages the EcoFlow Delta has is it has pass-through charging. And that means I can charge the unit with solar, AC, or DC. And while I'm charging this unit, I can charge something else, like these batteries, for instance. And that's a great advantage because when you're charging 7.5 amp hour batteries, they're 420 watt hours each. This is a 1260 watt hour unit. It can do it. And it would be great to charge my batteries while I'm charging this via solar in the middle of nowhere, which is pretty cool. Currently, the Ego Nexus doesn't have pass-through charging. And hopefully that will change in the future. Let's go ahead and turn this on and just kind of see what power it's draining. But that was really my point of view there. It looks like one battery's charged and the other one is not. So it's charging one of the batteries. Charged, charging. Looks like I'm pulling 190 some odd watts, a little over 200. Okay, so again, if you are charging via solar, your input will show up there, and while you're charging something else, your output will show there. A really nice advantage. I wanted to provide an example of pass-through charging. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the EcoFlow Delta right now. Okay, we're going to go ahead and charge the unit. So as soon as you plug it in, it normally starts charging on its own to my knowledge. There it goes. So it's showing an 89% charge. It's receiving, let's see how many watts. 144, 157. So the wattage is going to go up. It's supposed to be able to receive up to 1200 and some odd watts. I mean, that's a lot of wattage, right? So let it do that for a minute. It tells you how long it'll take to charge to full. We're almost at 700 watts right now. All right, now I'll let that go up before I turn on the plugs in the back. So, all right, we're on about, okay, 800 watts. So let's go ahead and turn on the charging for the batteries. Now, I think this is the battery that needs to charge. So let me go ahead and turn that on in the back. I could find the button. All right, that's the fun part about this little button that they have back here, guys. So let me just turn this around. All right, so I turned it on, and now we're going to see here, I'm receiving 700 watts, and I am actually, my output is 100 and change. So there is what you call pass-through charging. So you're charging the actual device, but you're also charging another device at the same time. Again, Ego doesn't have that, and hopefully they'll have it in the future, but look at this. 920 some odd watts going into the charger, the EcoFlow, 240 going out. 17 minutes to fully charge. And there is an example of pass-through charging. And there's Brooklyn, by the way. Say hi. Yeah. All right, it's time to go over pros and cons. I'm going to start off with the EcoFlow Delta. Let's start off with the pros. Well, the power station can be charged super fast, and I love that. And you can charge it AC, DC, or solar. But it is amazing how fast you can charge that to full with AC power. I like that it has pass-through charging. I like that it has an MPPT solar charge controller built in. I like that it has the power supply built in, so you don't have to carry a brick around, which is nice. I like that it has two USB Type-C ports. More and more devices are using those. I like that the display can show input and output wattage, which is really important. I like that in the back of the unit, it's got a DC port, so you can plug things in that way. I also like that it has 6 AC outlets, which is nice. The other thing I like is you can charge 13 devices at the same time on this thing. And the last thing I really like is it's actually pretty light in comparison to the Ego Nexus. Now, let me start with the cons, and then we'll go into Ego. I don't like that it doesn't have an app, so you can't do firmware updates and you can't control it. I don't like that it doesn't have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And I don't like that it only has a 2-year warranty. Other than that, pretty nice machine. Well, let's go ahead and go over Ego pros. Look, I like that the Ego can handle more wattage with 2,000 watts versus 1,800. I like that it has removable batteries. Think about that. All you have to do is change a battery. You don't have to change your whole power station. So that's a nice advantage. I also like that these batteries work on tons of tools. Think about it, mowers, snow blowers, weed whackers, the same battery. And that's an advantage. And if you're living in this ecosystem, this might be the choice for you. I like that you can add more watt hours based on the batteries. Think about it. If you add 4 10 amp hour batteries, and if down the road they make a 15 amp hour battery or a 12 amp hour battery, you can put it on this unit. That's nice. I like that it has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. I like that it has an app. You can do firmware updates and you can control it, which is nice. Now let's get into the cons though. So I don't like that it has a big external power supply. I just don't like that. Now it's light, but it's still big. I don't like that the charge controller, the MPPT charge controller, isn't included and it's not built in. You have to buy that separately. It's $159. I don't like that it doesn't have pass-through charging. That means I can't charge something. I can't charge the stations and the batteries while I'm charging something else. So you can't do that with the Ego, and I don't like that. I also don't like that it doesn't have any Type-Cs. And obviously a lot of devices today are using Type-C, besides your normal Type-A USBs. It also has only 3 AC outlets. This guy's got 6, and that really plays a big part. I don't like that this display doesn't show your input and your output wattage. I don't like that. So that's something that's got to be fixed. And hey, this thing is a lot heavier when you add those batteries. It's probably closer to double the weight. And that's it on the pros and the cons. All right, let me get into my final thoughts on these two machines. So first of all, they're both great machines. They really are. They're made well, good quality, represented by good companies. Let's start off with the Ego. If you're in the Ego ecosystem and you have a mower and you have other tools and batteries, it really makes sense for you to get the Ego Nexus, right? Because you're going to have a power station and you'll be able to use your batteries. So that makes sense, okay? It can also be beneficial to have external batteries as well. You can always change your batteries and not have to replace the total power station. I do like that the Ego has the 5-year warranty. That really helps. All right. Now on the EcoFlow, I love that it has that, pass-through charging. That's phenomenal. I like that the power supply is built in, the MPT, solar charger is built in. That's really nice. And the fast charging is phenomenal. And the ability to charge 13 devices at the same time is really, really cool. So what are your thoughts? What power station do you guys have? I sure hope you subscribe to our channel. I hope that you hit like. It really helps the channel. You have no idea how many people don't even hit like. So hit like, definitely subscribe if you could and hang out with us. We would love that. And thank you so much for your time. Hey guys, take a moment and give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. As you can see, Brooklyn, she's waving her tail for you. Take a moment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell and you'll get notified of new videos we come out with. Also, follow us and contact us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.